What's up, guys? So I made a few videos about DeAndre Hopkins since it was clear that he was not going to be an Arizona Cardinal anymore, and I've pretty much been on the fence about whether or not the Jets should be interested. And in my last video about it, somebody commented and said, dude, you need to go watch what he did last year before you give an opinion. And I said, you know what? That's pretty fair. I just kind of, I can't do film study on every single potential free agent or trade acquisition. So sometimes give kind of casual opinions when it's coming from guys from other teams. So I was like, all right, let's do it. So I started watching the first two games of DeAndre Hopkins' season. I got about 6 quarters in, and I'm like, okay. Oh my goodness. The notion that he is washed, I don't know where this is coming from. And after watching it, I'm like, all right, let me check the numbers. The first 4 games he comes back, right? And that's before Kyler Murray goes down with his injury. So the first 4 games of last year with an actual starting quarterback who's not elite, but who's capable, and Kyler Murray, he has 400 yards and 3 touchdowns. And he had the PED suspension, so he missed some games. We'll circle back to that. He's not without baggage. He's not a perfect player. But on the year, 79 yards per game. That paces out to well over 1,500 yards. That paces out to an all-pro season. He averaged 23% more yards per game than Garrett Wilson. Is that an anti-Garrett Wilson take? No, it is a pro DeAndre Hopkins take. And furthermore, the more I was thinking about this while watching him, I'm like, you know what, man? All of the trepidations I had about bringing in DeAndre Hopkins are all the same ones that Jets fans said about Aaron Rodgers. And we didn't really mean it. We didn't. Come on, let's be honest. We went out and we got the jersey immediately. Oh, he's washed. Okay, we need a better vocabulary, all right? Because 33-and-a-half-year-old Julio Jones getting 200 yards, that is washed. DeAndre Hopkins coming in and averaging 80 yards a game. With a lot of these games being played with a backup quarterback, that is not washed. That is factually not washed. Just like Aaron Rodgers, he's not what he once was. There was a case to be made at one point at the peak of Hopkins' career that he was the best or second best receiver in the NFL. He's not that anymore. Aaron Rodgers, for a stretch of time, was probably the consensus. Him and Tom Brady 1A and 1B. And he's not quite that anymore. But they are still both excellent players in their own right. And with this offensive skill position group, you might say, we don't need a wide receiver. Okay, if there is another player you'd like to make a move, an acquisition, and spend this money in a different way, then I'll listen to that. But to me, just stopping at what you need, that is not part of our discourse anymore when we're trying to win a Super Bowl. Or, oh, you have to pay Quinnen Williams first. Quinnen Williams is under contract. Quinnen Williams is getting paid. Joe Douglas can walk and chew gum at the same time. When Quinnen Williams gets his deal, which will happen, and he becomes the highest paid player in Jets history, and he gets to go home to his wife with their newborn baby and say, we have generational freaking wealth. Or are they going to say, oh man, this sucks because the Jets should have done this before getting down to the order of it doesn't matter. I would have liked Aaron Rodgers' trade be done before Allen Lazard signing, whatever. Joe Douglas can walk and chew gum at the same time. Quinnen is under contract, and he's going to be here. He's going to be here. So that is not a huge factor to me. Quinnen's extension will not be a huge hindrance to the 2023 cap. Now, also, Hopkins will probably be looking for a rather expensive, probably a multi-year commitment, a 2-year thing. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with moving on from Corey Davis, and who's on the last year of his contract. And then guess what? If you keep Corey Davis and you let him walk, you're going to need a wide receiver next year. So now you get a 2-year solution of having 2 really good wide receivers. One of them is highly paid and older in DeAndre Hopkins, and the other one is younger and cheaper in Garrett Wilson. And the Jets are good. The Jets are stacked on offense. Yeah, compared to same old Jets teams, and maybe there's a chance a lot of variables go the right way, and this Jets offense weaponry is stacked. If Breece Hall comes back 100%, if Michael Carter bounces back, if Corey Davis stays available and looks like Tennessee Corey Davis, if the offensive line stays healthy, if Allen Lazard is the Allen Lazard some people think he is, like a high-end wide receiver 2, or is he the guy I think he is, which is like a high-end wide receiver 3? if Tyler Conklin breaks out, right? If the Jets can find some untapped potential in Mecole Hardman that Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes couldn't. So yeah, there is like a less than 10% chance that the stars align and we're looking at this team and we're like, man, we didn't even need DeAndre Hopkins. Look, we're scoring all these extra points for no reason. We could have saved ourselves some money, but I highly doubt that that will be the case. And furthermore, having two dynamic, explosive pass catchers has become one of the staples of the modern contender, whether it be Cooper Kupp and Odell Beckham Jr., Chris Godwin and Mike Evans, Deebo Samuel and George Kittle, and Brandon Ayuk. The Eagles with Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown, right? And the Chiefs, you know, 4 of their first AFC Championship appearances were with Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. So 2 dynamic pass-catching weapons has absolutely become one of the staples of the modern contender. And I think Garrett Wilson would be even better with DeAndre Hopkins playing across from him. And Aaron Rodgers would be the best quarterback that DeAndre Hopkins has ever freaking played with. And until, you know, I know this team, it looks good on paper and, you know, we're building chemistry and culture and all this stuff and we're excited and we should be. But until that manifests into a deep playoff run on the field, I want this team to have a bias towards action. And when in doubt, say yes. And when you're 95% in, push it to 100% in. And I got to say, you know, thank you to the commenter who said, hey, bro, watch this guy play and you're going to change your mind. Because I have. Additionally, you keep him, you sign him, you keep him away from the Bills or the Chiefs. You know, it's like, oh, I'm glad you're not the GM of the Jets, Buffalo Jet fan. Yeah, you probably are. I would not do as good a job as Joe Douglas, admittedly, right? Of course. But the 2 teams that are interested in, according to Albert Breer, the 2 teams that had substantive trade talks to acquire DeAndre Hopkins were the Bills and the Chiefs. And those are 2 of the 3 teams, them, the Bengals, right? And Chiefs, Bengals, Bills are the 3 teams who have accomplished the most in our conference the past 3 or 4 years. So what does it tell you that those competent teams are in on him? Do we know more than they do? I would submit to you that we do not. And DeAndre Hopkins makes the Jets better. DeAndre Hopkins being on the team increases the chances of us winning a Super Bowl. I don't know really how much of a hot take that is. And yeah, he made a gesture for 10 seconds in a video a couple months ago when the Jets were mentioned. And if he really feels that way, then he's not going to be here. Then the whole 7 minutes of this video was pointless. But to me, that's not a binding agreement. And it's worth a call. It's absolutely worth a call. So, happy to admit when I'm wrong. And yeah, I should have watched him first. He could still freaking play. Go Jets.